and welcome here to TalkFCB, and welcome back to the channel, guys, to each and every one of you, because coming up today, we are going to be talking about El Clasico. It is Real Madrid up against Barca this Sunday in the Supercup final. There is a trophy to play for, and we are going to be talking all about the game to come, Hansi Flick's quotes in his press conference, the potential lineup that we could see, and the return of Dani Olmo. And along with all of that good stuff, we still will have time to talk transfers too. There's been lots going on. Flick spoke today about the whole Araujo situation. We've got more on that. And we really need to discuss these Marcus Rashford rumours. All of that is on the way for you. Get ready for it. And let's do this. But I would like to kick off the preview right here, guys, by saying a very big thank you indeed to Sergi on the super thanks here. I really appreciate the support coming in on the channel, and particularly here, this game for me, guys, coming up against Real Madrid so early on in the year. It's a massive game for Barca, given that we have had a few struggles, and looking at the recent form here of the two teams coming into this game, it's quite clear to see that Barca have had some tricky results. You know, we have had that tricky run of form that really did hurt us in terms of La Liga, whereas Real Madrid, they've started to hit some sort of form. And it's quite interesting when you look at Real Madrid, because quite often they can flatter to deceive, they can maybe look as though they're struggling in games, but they find ways to win, and they've certainly found a way to do that here. Going back now several weeks, they put a run together, and they have put real pressure on Barcelona, because right here, looking at the league table, of course, it's not in La Liga this weekend, but just to illustrate, you know, where the two teams are, they are now ahead of us. Real Madrid are 5 points clear in the league table, and I've got to be honest with you, with the way that we started the season, with the results that we were getting, the way we were scoring goals, and the way we were defending, I never expected that here, to be here in January and to be 5 points back from Real Madrid, and with Atletico Madrid there ahead of us as well. And I'm just looking at the last Clasico. You know, it was back in October. It wasn't a million miles away, and it wasn't ages ago. But I think the big question is just how much, you know, if anything, has changed since that game in terms of the fundamentals of this Barcelona team. You know, is that kind of performance still in there? Is that team still capable of rising to an occasion? We know that Hansi Flick's Barca, they like the big games, they like the big occasion here. They can really ramp up the intensity for these kinds of occasions. And does that make it here the perfect opportunity? Does it make it as though to start a new year, to kick off a new campaign, to do it as well with a potential trophy here? This is an opportunity. This is a real moment to get back to what we were doing, to get back to those kinds of levels that we know that we can achieve. And what better way to do it than against our biggest rivals in Real Madrid? Because let's be clear, guys, when you're talking here about the Super Cup, and especially since it's been played here in this January period, it's a big game for many reasons. Not only can you win a trophy, not only are there financial incentives as well, which are of course important for Barca, but I think you look in terms of these recent results here in the Super Cup against Real Madrid, particularly the 2023 final, and then the 2024 final. Because you look at 2023 there, how good that game was, how incredible that performance was from Xavi's Barca against Real Madrid, and of course that season, we went on to win La Liga. We had a very successful campaign there. But in 2024, we started the year in a bad way, in a catastrophic way there, getting hammered by Madrid, and we never really recovered. We were never really able to get it together after that point there. So I think it's an important game. It sets the tempo, it sets the feeling of the whole year to come, and that is why right here, we have to try to take something away from positive experiences. We have to look back at October, what we did at the Bernabeau, the way that we scored 4 without reply against Real Madrid. And even Hansi Flick said today, it's a reference for us, you know, for the whole team and the way that not only we played, but we did everything together. He said everything was working as a team, and everybody has to do their part in the squad to be at a good level, to be at the level required, and to be able to win in that way. So make no mistake it here, Barca will look at what they were doing back in October in that win against Real Madrid, and they will play in the same way. Hansi Flick said here today, we're not changing our style. You know, the style that you saw at the Bernabeau, the high line, the incredibly aggressive approach, That is not going to change. We haven't changed it for anybody all season long, and we will not change it now. He said we are fully committed to the same philosophy as we have had, and that will not change. So I think it's really interesting there to know what that high line is going to look like, because I think in the games against Bayern, in the games against Real Madrid, we were 100% focused, committed. The intensity was there. The pressing was there elsewhere in the field. That has to be there now. Because if you play that same high line that we saw at the Bernabeau, if you go for that really aggressive approach, but we see the pressing that we saw, just before Christmas in those games in La Liga there, where we weren't able to run, we weren't able to press, we weren't able to hunt the ball down in the way we were doing. If you play like that without the pressing against Madrid, you will get taken apart. They will consistently find balls in behind. They will consistently find spaces. You must be there. Every single player must bring their A game. They must be committed. They must be focused here. And we have to realise that now is the time to step up. However, though, guys, speaking there about that high line and the way that we were able to really enforce that at the Bernabeau in the 4-0, as much as yesterday I spoke about the fact that I actually want to see Wojciech Szczesny get a chance in this game. I want to see what he can do, what he's got, and this is a good opportunity to just see and to just try in a game like this. But at the same time, I have to admit, Iñaki Peña, he was vital against Real Madrid. In the last game there, in the way that he was that sweeper keeper, he took a very, very advanced position. He was one of the ones who was really covering that space in behind. And do not forget as well, he made some excellent one-on-one saves in that game. So make no mistake here, Peña was key in the last Clasico, and if Szczesny is the one to come in, which from what we are hearing in the media right now, he may well be. Roger Torreo today saying that Szczesny has a massive chance to start, that he's really, really impressed Flick over these past few games and in training sessions as well, but if he does play, he will need to have that kind of impact too. And today, Flick did speak on Szczesny or Peña. He said, look, I never talk about the starting 11. He said Szczesny has played 2 great games in the past 2 games, and Iñaki has had a fantastic season. He said, it doesn't matter to me if everybody's talking about it. Things are clear to me. Both have been good in goal for us. They are both professionals, and they will have no problem with my decision there. So Flick not really giving anything away in terms of Szczesny or Peña. And I think even amongst the Barca fan base, there is a bit of a divide on this one. We're not quite sure who to go with, who to really put our faith in terms of not only the short term here, what it means for this game, but what it could mean potentially for the rest of the season as well. So that's what I feel like here. It's an opportunity that maybe we're not going to get again, just to see how Szczesny really does handle himself in a game like this, in a really high-pressured situation. We have ultimately seen what Peña can do, so is it now time for Wojciech Szczesny? But indeed, guys, thinking again about the 4-0, thinking about things that we did well in that Clasico earlier in the season, one thing that we have to say here is that we were very clinical in that game. In the second half of that match there, we had chances that came our way, and particularly I'm thinking of Robert Lewandowski. In that Clasico, he was outstanding there. He had a chance on the edge of the box, didn't he? Put it away absolutely beautifully. The cross then comes in for his second goal. It's an outstanding header from him. It was really, really top number 9 play. And we have to see that here. Lewandowski has had several weeks here whereby he's had big chances in front of goal, easy opportunities really by his standards, and he's missed them. That cannot happen in this game. If Barca are to be successful against Real Madrid, if we are to win this game here and go on to lift the trophy, Lewandowski has to be on his game. Lewandowski has to step up and be the centre forward that we know that he can be. He has to be clinical, and we need him to take those chances. But then, guys, we do of course move on to somebody who is returning for this final against Real Madrid. Dani Olmo, he is back. Because even right here today, Hansi Flick spoke about the external noise that has been going on at the club. But he said, look, I've told all of my players, we must stay united. No matter what happens, we've got to stay strong, got to be cohesive, and the goal is to keep improving and to learn from every single game there. So Flick is already understanding at Barca. There is a lot of noise. There are a lot of things that go on a daily basis, and you ultimately have to deal with them. You can't solve all of them. It's not really his responsibility to be solving the off-the-field issues. all that you can do is handle what's in your control and ultimately try to just calm your players and keep them here together. Because Olmo now and Pau Victor, of course, they are officially registered in La Liga. Now, that is via the temporary registration that we received after the court granted Barca a precautionary measure. Now, let me just say, guys, La Liga, they are still fuming. They are still very, very unhappy about the court's decision, and there have even been rumours here that La Liga could actually try and challenge the court's decision via contentious administrative court with the hope that Olmo and Pau would again be unregistered. So La Liga may try to fight the decision, and they still may try to get Olmo and Pau unregistered, but as of right now, here and now, Olmo and Pau Victor, they can play in the Supercup final. I thought it was actually really, really interesting, thinking about Dani Olmo there, that Ancelotti was asked about him playing, maybe making an impact even after he was unregistered on December the 31st. You know, what did he make of that? Ancelotti actually said if he plays and he has an impact on Sunday, then it's because we haven't been able to stop a very good player. He said if he plays, we will think about defending him as best as we can and stopping his influence because he has a lot of quality there. So Ancelotti and Real Madrid as a whole, they haven't gotten involved in this Olmo situation. They really haven't here challenged Barca, challenged La Liga on the decision surrounding the registration. Now, there are La Liga clubs, Atleti, Sevilla, Athletic Club, even Malaga now, from the basement of Spanish football, are really piping up. They're not happy at all with the re-registration of Olmo, but Real Madrid are not one of those clubs there, so they are staying quiet on this particular issue. But I think the big question here, when it comes to Olmo and being back now, well, should he start? You know, is he in a position mentally, physically, and of course from the team's point of view as well, is he ready to start a Clasico against Real Madrid? Because let me just say, Gavi, who came in his place in the semi-final against Athletic Club, I thought he was tremendous. And it's not just about the fact that he scored a goal, which of course is valuable, it's important there, especially since he was playing a more advanced role, but he's just everywhere. And I think in a game like this against Real Madrid and in the Super Cup, don't forget, Gavi, he loves this competition. He comes alive in the Super Cup. And one of his best ever games in a Barca shirt came in the final, in the Super Cup against Madrid in 2023. And I just think right here, at some point, Gavi needs a run of games. You know, I know that we're being very careful with him, that we don't like starting him too often, too frequently right now after his injury, but at some point here, he needs that run again to fully get going. And we've seen lots of flashes of his former self, of the best level that he can produce, and we've seen flashes of that. And is this now his moment, his opportunity that he's been waiting for too? Don't forget, this is a guy who spent a year on the sidelines watching his teammates play in these kinds of games. He will want to be there, and he will want to be there from the start. And quite honestly, with everything that Olmo has been through, the mental turmoil of the past few days, I think it might be the safer option here to bring him off the bench here, to not put him immediately back into the spotlight, to start him here after all of that uncertainty in such a big game. I think Gavi, he did well in the semi-final. He proved himself. He showed the quality that he has, and why not keep that going? So in terms of the starting lineup then, guys, in all honesty, I wouldn't change a great deal. I really wouldn't here. And that has always been Flick's philosophy, don't forget, that if something is working, if something has been going well, then there's no real rush, there's no urgency here to just change it all around. So that is why I would keep Szczesny in goal, give him that opportunity, let's see what he can do. This is a rare chance for that. The backline should remain unchanged, in my opinion there. It's been working, it's the most familiar, they're all used to each other, and against Real Madrid, you need everybody to understand their role absolutely perfectly. Casado and Pedri have been so good, so consistent in midfield for us. Gavi, like I say, played well in the semi-final. Yamal was taken off at a good time. He's ready again to start here. Rafinha, we know he's going to be vital. He's been such a key player for us this season. He also needs to be as clinical as possible in front of goal. And like I say, Lewandowski leading the line. He will have a big part to play. And will he take those chances? Because in terms of the predictions, guys, I have to say there is optimism here when it comes to those all-important predictions. Barca to win by 2 goals is the favourite choice. It is the majority here from my community section. And I've got to be honest with you guys, I think it's going to be really close. I think we've seen in this Super Cup final, as we showed earlier, lots of big wins one way or another. But I think this one, it is going to be tight. And I wouldn't even be surprised here, guys, if it went beyond the 90 minutes. If maybe we even ended up, imagine a Clasico penalty shootout. You know what? Let's say that'll happen. I don't really want it to. I don't think my nerves could really handle that. But hey, I think it could. I think it is going to be a tight game on Sunday, guys. But all that we can do is hope with everything that we have that we come out on top and lift the title in the end. But like I say, even aside from the massive game that we have to come, the Clasico on Sunday, there have also been lots of transfer rumours swirling around that I think we do need to address still in today's video, guys. And let's talk here about Ronald Araujo, because the latest rumours in the media right now is that Juve have actually made their first offer to Barca there, an official concrete offer that apparently went in for 35 million euros. Apparently Juve offered 35 million for Araujo. I mean, again, are you joking? Is that a joke? It's not even funny. 35 million, come on. Because that offer there, quite rightly, apparently, was immediately rejected. Barca did not even think about that. They probably read the offer and immediately replied with no, absolutely not. Or at least that's what I hope that they did. Now, apparently Juve are considering making another offer, maybe a little bit of a better one, perhaps. Now, apparently their next offer could come in at around 50 million euros, which is maybe a little bit more respectful, but at the same time, that still is not going to do it. That still should not do it. And apparently, if that offer did come in, Barca would also be rejecting that one too. They are looking this January, apparently, for between 70 to 80 million euros there to sell Araujo. Now, I don't think Barca, really want to, but if they had that money and if the player wanted to leave, that is something that they would accept. Because certainly, when you listen to Hansi Flick right now, he is not backing down. In terms of his stance on Araujo, in terms of how he feels about the player, he is very much maintaining that. He said, I know there's a lot of rumours, but Ronald is a very professional player. But he said now he's back. He's available to play again after a serious injury, and I want him in my team because he is one of the best defenders that there is. So Flick continues to rate Araujo very, very highly. He's been very excited to have him back. He always spoke when he was out injured about the fact that he couldn't wait until Araujo was available again and how he would suit his style of play. Flick is still maintaining that stance, even if right now there could be negotiations going on about his exit. However, guys, if there was one particular rumour that we really did have to discuss today, well, it's everything that we're hearing about Marcus Rashford and Barcelona. Because right now, obviously, Rashford is being offered to pretty much every major club in the world that will listen, because Ruben Amorim, the new Man United coach, he doesn't want Rashford at the club. He does not see him there as part of his plans. Now, remember that Rashford is on really big money at United, and also Man United, by the way, they're really trying to save money in every conceivable way. Even though the media only ever talk about Barca and money problems, Man United, in terms of fair play, are really doing some cost cutting. So Juve, Dortmund, AC Milan, Monaco, they've all been contacted, they've all been told there that Rashford could be available and probably on some sort of loan deal. Now, Barca are also in that conversation. That is something that has been confirmed by Fabrizio Romano. They have spoken a little bit initially there with Rashford's agent to understand what his situation is, what his preference would be ahead of a January move, and exactly what could happen right here. Because like I say, it would only be a loan deal most likely until the end of the season there. It's Man United trying to shift him away from the club to stop the noise and probably also to save on the wages. But the big question would be, how much of those wages would Barca have to take on in order to loan Rashford? Because he is on reportedly over 300,000 a week at United. So those are massive wages. But look, we're not taking all that on. Absolutely no chance should we be considering that there. That is big money that I don't really want to be spending. So it all depends there on how much United are willing to pay towards to get him out. It's that kind of situation. I think they will have to do that, no matter who decides to take Rashford on right now. But of course it's an interesting one, because I think certainly he's a player with a lot of potential. He's got a lot of quality in his career. We've seen him score a lot of goals. We've seen him hit real spells where he looks unstoppable. But then we've also seen him in his career have a kind of period like now where it kind of looks like he's not trying. You know, the problem at United right now is that he's not buying into what they're doing. You know, he's not running, he's not putting in the effort. And again, it comes down to whether he would be the same player in a Hansi Flick team at Barca, or would he be somebody, and I kind of look at the situation with Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, whereby we were told at Arsenal that he was this troublemaker, that he was a real problem for the dressing room, Arteta was desperate to get rid of him. He came to Barca, and you couldn't have asked for more. With the way that he came in, the way that he conducted himself, the impact that he had, the way that he was in the dressing room, he was absolutely perfect for us. And it was a top deal that really did pay dividends there. It was a gamble that really did pay off for Barca. And that's the way that I look at a deal like this. Obviously, Rashford, in his current state, it is a gamble. It is not the kind of deal there that's guaranteed to work out. You know, we know that he's a left winger. We know that we are really short in that kind of department. We know that he's the kind of player that could work in a Hansi Flick system there with his pace, with the pace in behind there. Certainly I'm thinking about diagonal balls from Yamal over to Rashford. You could see it on paper working out in some way, but I think it ultimately depends on what kind of version of Marcus Rashford you would actually end up getting. Exactly how much here can Hansi Flick extract from him? It's a challenge, and it would be a challenge there for Hansi Flick if we did bring him in. And for me, the most important thing would be, how much of those wages would we actually have to pay? And I think it's that there that would decide whether this was a gamble that was actually worth taking on, guys. And I am really intrigued to know what you make of these Rashford rumours, because I know a lot of people are like, you know what, no way, no chance at all. And I get that, I really do understand that point of view as well. But the fact is, the club are looking at him right now. They are exploring this deal, and what would you actually think if it were to materialise, if it were to happen in this January transfer window, guys? So let me know all of your thoughts down below there on Marcus Rashford, and do let me know as well, of course, what you are expecting ahead of Sunday's Clasico between Real Madrid and Barcelona. I will catch you guys after the game for the full match review. Thank you indeed for all of your great support. I will see you then. But until next time, guys, as always, Vesca, El Barça.